Chapter 14. Content warning, this chapter contains audio descriptions and visual images of puppy mills, and there will be pictures of malnourished dogs. There will be no photos of any injured animals, and there will not be any blood. Chapter 14. It only took a few minutes to explain what we found to Gran, but it took a couple days for her to pull together the necessary arrangements. At first, I didn't want to wait, but then I could sort of see her point. She wanted to do things properly so that the animals would be taken care of and the authorities would go along with us. But Brenna grumbled about it all week. She thought we should just swoop in and rescue the pups, sneak in at night and steal them if we had to. Even I could see that was a bad idea. David and Zoe cooked up a scheme to notify the television stations so that we could be on the news, but Gran put an end to that one. Finally, the big day is here. As we drive through the pouring rain out to Lafayette Road, Gran goes over what we might see one more time. Good breeders raise animals properly. They provide them with clean cages and plenty of food and water. They vaccinate them, and they are careful to breed only animals who are strong and healthy and have good personalities. You won't see any of that where we're going. Chances are, it's going to be filthy. The dogs will be underfed and sick. The people who run these places don't care about the health or happiness of the animals. They just want to make money fast. Sounds scary, says Zoe. You can stay in the van if you want, Gran offers. There's nothing wrong with making that choice. I look back at the others. David is anxious, Brenna outraged, Sunita worried, Zoe concerned. No one is backing out. We're going to see this through to the end. We pull in a gravel driveway and drive past a hand-painted sign that says Puppies for Sale. The animal shelter van and a sheriff's car pull in behind us. They're here to help us. Captain Thompson heads up the local shelter. He retired from the Army a few years ago. His full name is Zebulon P. Thompson. Whenever I ask him what the P stands for, he always has a different answer. I mostly call him Sir. His volunteers will take any healthy animals we find to the shelter. Then they'll try to find good homes for them. The sheriff is here to make sure everything is done legally. We park next to the 2-story farmhouse. In front of us is a small barn missing some windows and desperate for a coat of paint. A wet cat darts past the van and hides under the front porch. I can hear a bunch of dogs barking. They are not happy barks. They are pained, sad barks. A man runs out of the house without a coat on. He must be the owner. Mrs. Nestor was right. He is skinny. Mean-tempered, too. What do you people think you're doing? He screams as he bangs on my side of the van. Get off my property. I don't want you here. Do you think he has a gun? Sunita whispers. I don't care, says Brenna boldly. I care, said David. I care a lot. David's right, says Gran as she turns off the engine. You should care. Wait here, kids, until I make sure it's safe for you to get out. The sheriff and Gran talk briefly, then she knocks on my window. You can come out if you want. The puppy mill owner shakes his finger in the sheriff's face as we all get out of the van. Sheriff, I want these people arrested right now, he demands, shaking with anger. The sheriff crosses his arms over his chest. Rain drips from the front of his hat and makes a puddle at his feet. They made me get a warrant, Larry. It's about your dogs. Bunch of people filed complaints. We need to take a look at them now. If they're in bad shape, the doc here can take them away. Larry, the puppy mill owner, looks behind him toward the sound of barking, howling dogs. I haven't had a chance to clean them up today, the rain and all, you know, he says. Come back tomorrow. The sheriff looks at Gran. It would be nicer to do this in better weather, he comments. Then he'll fix everything up, I interrupt. That's not fair. Gran, has to inspect the dogs now. She's right, Gran says. I'm calling my lawyer, Larry yells. He turns around and stomps towards the house. Let's get this over with, says the sheriff. Captain Thompson and his volunteers walk toward the front of the barn. Gran heads the other way, around the back of it. Brenna and I follow Gran. Sunita, David, and Zoe follow Captain Thompson. From the sound of the barking, I figure there will be 4 dogs, maybe 5, plus a few puppies. I am completely unprepared for what we see as we turn the corner. It looks like a jail, a horrible jail for dogs. Dogs are crammed into small wire kennels, 2 rows of them. I count 10 kennels per row. Brenna and I walk down the middle of the aisle, speechless. This guy has been breeding chocolate and yellow labs, collies, and a few terriers. There are so many animals that look hungry and dirty, I don't know where we should start. The kennels are awful. There's nothing protecting the animals from the rain. The dogs are crowded into the wire cages and have to go to the bathroom right where they sit. The stench is horrifying. Their food bowls are disgusting. I see worms everywhere. A scrawny lab is struggling to lap up water from a puddle. A few dogs bark wildly at us. The rest look too malnourished to make any noise. Some have open sores where their fur has been rubbed away, probably from rubbing up against the cages trying to get out. I blink fast to get rid of the tears in my eyes. How could anyone treat animals this way? I wonder how he'd feel if we locked him up in a cage, Brenna growls. He doesn't have any feelings, Gran mutters. David runs around the corner of the barn. We found puppies in the barn, Sunita and Zoe follow, each cradling a terrier puppy in her jacket. Oh my gosh. Zoe is stunned at the sight of the kennels. Are those? Begins Sunita. She covers her mouth with her hand. David can't say anything. He's speechless. The owner must keep puppies in the barn for a few days to clean them up and put some weight on them before he sells them, Gran says. Let's get them out of here, I say. Let's get them home. It takes more than an hour for Captain Thompson's volunteers to remove the dogs from the kennels. Gran does a quick examination and decides who is healthy enough to go to the shelter and who needs to go to the clinic. They are all hungry. As the volunteers load up the shelter van, Gran tells Captain Thompson how to feed them properly. The shelter van has to make 2 trips. When Gran is ready to take the sick dogs and puppies back to the clinic, she starts up the van and turns the heat on full blast. Get in out of the rain, she tells us. You are all going to have to be puppy incubators. We jump in the van and she starts handing each of us 3 puppies bundled in a towel. Hold them close. They need your body heat. Sunita nudges me. I look out the window. The sheriff and the puppy mill owner are shaking hands. They're smiling at each other. He looks awfully happy for a guy who was just arrested, remarks Zoe. Here, guys, help me, I say. Hold my puppies for a minute. Brenna, David, and Sunita each take one of my puppies. I open the door and dash out into the storm. Lightning flashes. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The thunder rumbles. That was close. I'm petrified, but I keep going. Excuse me, I say to the sheriff as I tap him on the back. Aren't you going to arrest him? He turns to me. That's not necessary. The doc has the sick animals. Larry here, he tried his best. I lost my job, Larry says. He lost his job, the sheriff repeats. Then he hurt his back. I couldn't take care of them, Larry says. He shakes his head from side to side as if he really cared about the dogs. What a fake. What a total fake. I gave him a warning and he promised to help out with your grandmother's vet fees. You should get back in the van. The thunder booms again. Now I'm shaking. I'm furious. I fumble in my pocket and pull out my notes from the library. You have to charge him, I tell the sheriff. I read slowly. According to the Dog Purchaser Protection Act, Section 9.3, an amendment to the Unfair Trade Practices and Consumer Protection Law. He didn't give the customers a health record or a health certificate signed by a vet. Plus, he isn't taking care of the dogs out back. Half of them look... My throat closes up. Don't cry, I tell myself. Don't cry yet. Use the facts. I stare Larry the liar straight in the eye. Half of them look like they're ready to die. You should be charged with neglect, abuse, and cruelty. I hand my notes to the sheriff. Hang on, says the sheriff. He uses his radio to contact his office and explain the situation. We wait a very long minute, the sheriff tapping his boot impatiently, me glaring at Larry trying to figure out if he should look sad, angry, or embarrassed. The radio crackles and the sheriff listens closely to his dispatcher. Then he looks up. The kid is right, Larry. I don't have a choice. I have to charge you. Get in the car. We'll do this down at the station. I turn around. Gran is standing behind me. She must have been standing there the whole time in case something went wrong, but she let me do it on my own. Her hair is plastered to her head. The rain has soaked her sweatshirt, but her eyes are warm and proud. "You did it!" she shouts over the thunder. She gives me a quick hug. "That's my girl." I haven't heard her say that in a really, really long time.